Hi everyone, I'm Jack Austin from the AI Persona Method and Savage Marketer. Today we've got Tracey Kitching on call and we're going to talk a lot about what she's been doing with AI in her business and with her clients. Tracey, thanks for joining us today.
No problems at all. It's an absolute pleasure.
I know you're one of the members of the community that's been around pretty much since the beginning, one of the most active members of the AI Persona Method and AI consultancy. Can you tell us a little bit about your business and how you've been using AI?
Yeah, sure. It's mainly been around marketing copy, social media copy is how I've been using it, plus a little bit about business operations. So doing standard operating procedures, how-to tasks, things like that. That's generally what I do for my clients. I also have an active school community, which I educate people because my background is actually education. That's how I differentiate myself from all the AI gurus out there. Yeah, so I'm all about education and I educate business owners, generally solo business owners, on the best practice use of AI using the AI Persona Method.
Right, brilliant. So I think that's something that I hear a lot from clients as well, and it's one of the objections that I run into with people is a lot of people aren't really sure how to use AI yet. Maybe they've dug around a little bit in ChatGPT, asked it some kind of one-line prompts, and then not really got the best responses out of it. Like you see a lot of content out there, as you said, you focus on content with the common AI phrases like elevate, delve, all of these kind of things. So it'd be interesting to dive a little bit more into that, and then also how the program sort of helped you improve the way you educate people, because it's a different angle to what I've heard from a lot of other people.
Basically, I've been part of the AI Persona Method program since, I got my certification right at the beginning of April in 2023. So, truly over a year now. And look, to be perfectly honest, the education part of it is what I absolutely love. Jeff, I show up pretty much every week to learn because everything's constantly changing. And what you said there about educating people on good copy is what I would call it. Not, you don't necessarily have to be a brilliant copywriter, but just knowing those steps and knowing what is good and what is basically crap copywriting, educating your audience on that. So that's sort of where I come from.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's something where it's your experience in those areas that allow you to make AI work in the way that you want it to work for you, right?
Absolutely. I always say to my community and my clients, you need to treat AI like an employee, a brand new employee. You need to educate it on who you are, who your business is, what values they stand for, everything about that business. Because if they don't understand that, then how can they produce stuff for you? Every employee induction when they first start at a company or a business, I sort of see educating AI as that's the induction. So part of your business. Jeff's method is really good sense of how to do that. I take my clients and my community, my customers through a step prior to where Jeff starts. Because I sort of feel that a lot of, especially solo business owners, don't have the basics, the groundwork done first about their business. So I sort of take them through that first, and then we get into that persona method of creating and educating and inducting our new AI employee.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I find the same thing when you're talking to people. They don't really necessarily know what their pain points are for their customers. And a lot of these basics, the things that as a solo business owner, you don't really have the time to do because usually you start a business and then you roll in and you've got customers and you don't have a chance to look back at these things. But I think what you said there is really, really key is people need to know about these things so that they can use AI effectively. Because it's the same way as if you bring a human into a business and you don't have a mission, a values, and all of that's in your head, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I've stepped into businesses as an employee where I have not been inducted properly because they didn't have all of those basic understandings themselves. I found that a real struggle to then have to catch up and understand how an email needed to sound for that owner or that manager and things, because there was no induction in that, because ultimately the manager didn't even know how he was supposed to sound, because there was no upper business structure in regards to all of that. It's something that I see all the time with different business owners that come through my program, especially, and the questions that I get asked in my community. And a lot of it comes from frustration because they don't have the time to actually do that initial part of your business plan, really, that initial time to actually get those solid foundations. And that's what AI needs. AI needs solid foundations to build upon.
Right, that's it. Yeah, it's the key. The key is the data behind it. And I also think there's changes coming with Facebook as well in how they manage AI content. And we've seen that they're now starting to ask, is it AI content? Isn't it AI content? And I think as we've experienced with the program and what we've been doing, nobody can tell that it is AI. Have you had any clients that have started off like really, really skeptical and then you've turned them around? Like, what are your biggest wins that you've had with the clients you've been working with?
Yeah, so I have a client that has a product. So it's a product-based business. Now, they have gone through that whole mission statement that they quite a large, even though this lady is a solo business owner, she's quite a large. So she had all that in place, which ultimately made my job a lot easier. But she was very skeptical in how AI could actually sound like her because she had already been playing with it.
Right.
She couldn't get it to sound like her. Like, she's a very well-educated woman. And her target market, she wants them to be very well-educated. And she just couldn't get it to sound like her. And she just threw her hands up. I was having a coffee with her. We were just talking about it because she was really interested in what I did. She just threw her hands up in the air and she just goes, I've had it. This AI is crap. I've had enough. She just started going on a rant. And I just said, whoa, hang on a minute. Have you actually tried educating it? And then her next words out of her mouth was, I don't have time for that. And I just said to her, I said, look, how about you trust me to sit with you and we'll get it sounding like you. And sure enough, we did. And she not only has me as a client with her product, but I am her client as well. So I set up initially the persona and then I actually offered her, I do 3-month blocks of content for her. So she actually has a team, like a creative media team, but they can't even get the AI to sound like her. So that's why she has me. And then I send all that information off to the media team. So that was a huge win for me because now she's a regular client. So that's awesome. Another win that I've had, which I find fascinating, but a lady came to me desperate because she was starting a business. The problem was she had never learned to read and write because she dropped out of school at 12 years of age, had a really hard life growing up. And she got her life together and she went to TAFE and that to adult education to learn to read and write, but her grammar was still at a very low level. And she goes, Tracey, I just don't want to sound like everyone else, but also I'm really struggling with making it look professional. This is how I want it. Like, she had a really clear picture in her head, who she was and how she wanted to be portrayed on social media. But because of her language barrier, she couldn't do her social media. I did the same with her. We set up her AI persona. She writes all of her own content now that she uses her AI persona with. And she's really confident in what she produces because it sounds like her and it's actually correct grammar, which makes her copy. She looks professional. She, is gaining clients, which is amazing. So I love stories like that because I know that AI is making a huge impact and helping people.
Yeah, it's really inspiring and that resonates with me a lot because one of the things I think people fear of AI is it like takes over certain things from certain people. But actually, I believe AI will give more people a chance to tell their story. Because you don't have to necessarily learn all of these frameworks. You don't need to figure out how to do that yourself. You need the frameworks, but then you can use AI to do the kind of the legwork for it. And it still sounds like something you would have said, but you're just unable to say that yourself for whatever reason. So I think that's super inspiring. And the first story you told is, I think, another classic example of like people hear AI and they think it's going to be an instant fix and they can just press one button and they get it straight away. Right. But we used to take us forever to get copy or thousands of dollars, and now we can do it in maybe 10 minutes instead of an hour. And personally, I hope it never gets to that point, because we will live in a very bland world.
One thing that I love about the AI persona method, you inject your personality, your authenticity into that persona. It comes out sounding like there's always tweaks you've got to do. But what I say to my clients and my community is that you're the business owner. You need to do the final edits before anything gets published. And that would go with the person that you have writing your copy. There's no way, like in a previous role that I used to have, I did all the copy, which is how I fell into Jeff's lab with the AI persona method, because I was so stressed out of doing all this copy. Even when I was writing it, the final check still had to happen by my boss. And that's good business practice. You're being lazy if you just go, oh yeah, AI did it, boom, copy, paste, go. That's just crazy to me, because good business practice. And I think that is where being part of the course and being part of the certification group, these things up through the weekly Zooms. And he's not available 24/7, but if you have a question, you can really know that he's going to get back to you, or he'll bring it up in the weekly Zoom and he'll go, hey, we've got this question this week, let's answer it, boom, 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 and off we go. So I think it's that support, and I love that aspect of it as well. It's just the community that he's built is just insane. And, it's all around that business mindset too, and checks and balances. And AI, he's always said to us, AI can get us to about 80%. Then it's up to us. It's up to us humans to edit and check and make sure everything's right. And then I think I do see a lot of people that go, oh yeah, AI wrote that for me, and I just copy and paste it. And it's like, have you actually checked it?
Yeah.
I can see on your post that it is AI, because you've left your little inverted commas at the beginning and at the end.
Yeah.
Copied and pasted it.
Yeah, or a title at the top, or ever wondered, or all the other phrases that you see in there. And yeah, you've nailed that. Like, it's exactly in my content business. We used to, with human writers, we'd have the writer, the editor, the QA, and then it goes to the client and they check it as well and come back with feedback. And that was just part of the process. And I guess a lot of the business was that. So what we're saying here is AI can take out the writer stage, but you still need someone who knows what they're doing to input it. So I think that's really, really valuable and useful. And yeah, the meetings on a weekly basis, the other great thing I find about them is they're all recorded. So even if I miss one, I can go back and watch it and kind of slow it down, speed it up, whatever I need to do. So, there's tons of value from that. And it is the marketing and the business side of it that helps as much as the AI, really.
Absolutely. And it's those what I call off the cuff conversations that pop up within that meeting that you just go, oh my God, I hadn't thought of that. Or, oh yeah, actually, no, that's awesome. I hadn't even realized I was doing that. And I am. So that's really good. So that, there's a little bit of both there, and you're always out there searching for what AI tips and tricks and apps and all the rest of it that are out there. But it's quite funny, because I always, no matter what the app is, come back to the method, come back to the AI persona method, because it's the base for anything that we do. Because it's not just content. Like, I do content, I do copy, but there's a lot of people that are using this method for being really creative, like with Midjourney and things like that, and being really data analytical with persona method. So it's not just marketing and copy. The persona method can be used in all different aspects of business. So I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So, if anyone is listening to this and you're going, oh, but I don't do social media, I don't do marketing, I don't do any of that, doesn't matter. There's a persona in there for you. So to learn and master and develop, and because it's a specific method that you go through.
Totally. So Tracey, thank you very much. Just before we finish, where's the best place for them to find you?
LinkedIn's my jam.
Right, yeah.
So I have, and it is just Tracey Kitching. I'll I was an early adopter into my name. So on LinkedIn, so there's no numbers attached to it. It is literally just the LinkedIn handle with /Tracey Kitching, and connect with me on there. And I will definitely help you out, because then I also have a school community, which if you've got school, you can look me up as in AI Persona Code. So that's the two places you can find me.
Perfect. Tracey, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time.
No problems. Thanks, Jack.